What is proper Scottish dress? Might piss off some people today, but that's what we're talking about. Everyday KT number 256. What in the hell does that mean? What is proper Scottish dress? Well, to some, it means the late 19th century version of high society Scotland, where, and this is my understanding of the history, so if I'm wrong, any serious legit history buffs out there, I please fill in. But late 18th century, early 19th century Scottish history, kilt, three-piece, or vest, jacket, bow tie, high hose, gillies, all of that shenanigans. Very nice sporran. That is what a lot of people, from what I have experienced, understand as proper Scottish dress. You've got your Argyle jacket, your Braemar jacket, your Prince Charlie, your various levels of dressed up. That may be proper formal Scottish kilted attire. Proper Scottish dress, I believe, is something completely different. And I want you to think about it from this perspective. This was inspired by something that I read a couple of days ago, where somebody was talking about all the different types of Scottish dress, and somebody said something along the lines of, wow, great 18th century costume. And that made me think for a second. So, the proper Scottish dress, according to a lot of the books, the how-tos, the what you're supposed to wear with a kilt, is based on one thing and one thing only. The complete version of a kilt garment. Now, in my experience, that kind of thing is expensive today. By today's standards, that is very, very expensive. My full Prince Charlie kit probably would cost around $3,000 retail today. And that is a crap load of money. A vast majority of folks who wear the kilt will not, do not, or cannot afford that level of commitment, if you will, to the kilt. So, what does that mean? That means that today, now mind you, I'm going to back up a little bit. $3,000 because my sporran is very expensive. My kilt was handmade. The kit that I have is on the higher end of what a formal kilt outfit will cost. Prince Charlie, all very nice, very expensive. The lower end, you could probably skate by for $1,000 and have something close to authentic. If you get it for cheaper than that, yay, you might look the part, but it's very much a costume. So, formal kilt attire based on historical references. You go to a wedding, you wear a tux. Why? Because that's what people have been doing forever. If you're going to wherever, you're going to get dressed up. If that needs dressed up, you're going to wear the bow tie as best as you can. But it's expensive. Very, very, very expensive. Now, I contend that proper Scottish dress and normal people's Scottish dress have absolutely nothing to do with each other. For this one specific reason. Kilts are now expensive and have been for all times a very time-consuming garment to create. A very well-made, handmade kilt can take upwards of 40 hours to make. If I made it, we're talking 120 hours or so, and it'd still look like crap. A skilled craftsman who's been trained in the classical kilt making methods, 30, 40 hours. If it's faster than that, I apologize. My experience, it's been about 30, 40 hours, one kilt. Now, that's expensive today. If you go back in history, think about it. Who are the people you see in pictures? They're the aristocracy. They're the folks who are well off. Well, what about everybody else? What about the regular folks? I would put this out there. The average Scot, now and back in the day, if kilts were still the thing that people wear, they might have one kilt, period. They may not have the jacket, they may not have the vest, the bow ties, white hose, gillies, none of that. They just might have a kilt in their own family colors. And that's it. All of the other stuff is fancy. Given. Yes, it's a fact. It's very fancy stuff. But at the time, the regular folk, that would be the fancy stuff that's really expensive because they're busy tending the farms. They're tending their animals. They're doing the stuff that is necessary to survive. Whereas the aristocracy, not so much, because they have lots of money. They can say, oh, I want 5 kilts in this tartan because I have a boatload of money and I would like 6 matching tartan vests. But let's switch it a little bit. So we'll just, we'll change. They're not going to be straight up and down. They're going to be on a diagonal as far as how the weave is. So I have a very difficult time all of a sudden believing that traditional Scottish dress as a nation was that full formal getup. I fully believe that, you know, if the guys out there are wearing a kilt, if they have a kilt and a belt and whatever boots and whatever shirt or whatever else they have, because they're regular folk. Just normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill people. So to apply that to today, think about how many people have very nice suits in their closets. I'm going to say not a whole hell of a lot of people. I'm not talking like the $99 ones you get over at whatever store. Like a good, nice, well-tailored suit. Not that many. That would have been the equivalent of the full formal kilt 150 years ago. Now, how many people have a pair of blue jeans? Just regular jeans. Or even just dress pants. Probably a hell of a lot more people. That would have been the equivalent of maybe having a kilt. Just a kilt. Belt, obviously, because you got to keep the kilt up. But the formal kilt attire, I don't believe that a vast majority of Scots would have had that at the time. Just like right now, a vast majority of people probably don't have hand-tailored suits. You know, the well-to-do, the well-heeled, as it were, would have all of these things. You know, so why am I talking about this? Very simple. When you're out there wearing your kilt, or for that matter, doing anything, be sure you are 100% certain what you're using as a comparison. Because if you're out there in your kilt today and you're saying, oh, I don't have the full kit, who wears that? The aristocracy from 150 years ago? Maybe. Today? Who knows? The average Scot? Not at all. Absolutely not. They're wearing pants. Which is fine. That's society, evolution, clothes, fashion, whatever. Doesn't matter. But even 150 years ago, you're wanting to be authentic 150 years ago to the authentic average Scot. Kilt, sure, like this. But the rest of it, I contend that it's just regular clothes. Because, you know, I can't afford to go out and buy 12 different sets of kilts and suit jackets. I don't have a Bramer jacket. I have one Argyle because I got a deal on it. And I have one Prince Charlie because I traded for it. That's it. I don't have a whole ton of various outfits that can fit with each of my kilts. Just a regular guy. A lot of clothes. I've got a lot of kilts, yes. Because I traded for them or they're prototypes or something. Purchased kilts, very few. Because I can't afford them. I just can't. You know, if you have 50 kilts in your closet and you bought every one of them at sticker price, then good for you. That's awesome. I'm not that. And I contend that a vast majority of kilt wearers today are in that same boat as I am, where they might have one kilt to maybe three or four. You know, maybe they're lucky and they have a tartan, what we call a tank, which is a handmade wool kilt from Scotland, very expensive. Or they like modern kilts, or the utility style kilts, and they also, they're doing pretty good. So they have one of the new Utilikilt switchbacks, awesome kilts. I just can't afford one right now, out of my budget. But it's one of those things where you buy something that's really well made once, or you buy crap all the time. I would save my money, buy the Utilikilt. Or I'd wind up wasting my money buying 12 crappy $30 Utilakilts from God knows where online. Don't want to do that. So I'm saving my money for that one good kilt. Just like back in the day, they'd have the one nice kilt. If I remember correctly, my colonial history, they had their Sunday clothes and they had their regular clothes. Regular clothes, they'd wear them during the week and whatnot, out in the fields, doing whatever, but they had their Sunday clothes to go to church. Whole different set of clothes. Worn only then because it was nice. It was nicer, it was better made, better quality, and it was kept clean a lot more. So, when you are sitting there looking at your kilted wardrobe and you're like, crap, I don't have blah, 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 I can't wear my kilt. I ask you to think of it from this perspective. If you were going out and you needed to wear your jeans out, would you have the same conundrum? I'm going to say no. Jeans will go damn near anything. Kilt will go with damn near anything. Damn near anything. I even have seen it done with a Hawaiian shirt, and it was done well. Flip-flops and socks, not my bag, but it works for some people. They like it, they're confident, it works. That's awesome. So, traditional Scottish dress versus Highland formal dress. Highland formal, there is tons of information. Traditional, regular people, Scottish garments, I contend that they'll have their kilts and, even if that, who knows? I wasn't there, so I can't tell you, but I'm guessing it's a whole lot less than the full formal outfit. So, when you're out there, if you got your kilt and that's it, maybe a belt, halfway decent sporran, or not so decent, maybe you made it yourself. I know I've got one. Look at this. I made this myself. I think it's a piece of crap, but it's got a cool little locky thing. You know what? It's a sporran. It'll work in a pinch. So, that's it. Highland, traditional Scottish dress, I contend is their formal. That's what they do to wear to the fancy party. Everyday regular Scottish people, kilt, and whatever else was clean enough for them to stand. Because the smell wasn't so overpowering it was disgusting. That's my guess. Because that's how most people live today. I'm guessing it's just you swap out the jeans for a kilt and you're ready to rock. So when you're making your clothing choices and you want to wear the kilt, just do not sit there and fuss about the formalities of all the whatever to be perfect according to 18th century tradition. Throw something on you're comfortable with and be done with it. So someone throw up a everyday KT or a kiltology, and we'll let you go. I know it's Saturday, and because of this topic, I actually had to pour myself a glass because I know there are an awful lot of people who think that, in this respect, I'm probably full of it. But you know what? I'm not here trying to reenact history. I'm not trying to be some character from 1850s Scotland. I'm me, sitting here talking to you on the phone, just having a scotch, trying to see if we can't get more people to be themselves. Alrighty, volume 2. Let's see what we got. Alrighty, so, well, we'll just go with this, humor. Because kilted humor. If you can show up anywhere with your kilt, regardless of what else you're wearing with that kilt, if anything at all, which is in itself humorous, you're going to have a good time. Unless you show up and everybody's like, oh, screw the guy in the kilt, which is very rare. I've not had it happen in my lifetime. Kilted humor is awesome. Kiltology, it's on Amazon. Number 261, kilted humor. Have you ever noticed that most kilties seem to be in a good mood and appear laughing inside about something? It's true. They are laughing at all the guys who willingly put themselves through the torture and agony of the pants every day. If you happen to be in a room full of kilties, it's because there's probably a flask or two floating around, and a Bonnie Lass somewhere has a sheepish grin on her face. Well, that's because if nobody's wearing kilts, there's nothing to laugh at. But think about it from this perspective. If you have a kilt, you've got pants. You don't have to wear, and this is not a requirement for whatever you're doing, and why? Freedom. We all know about that one. Just make it happen. And with that, I'll let you go. You guys have a good night. It's Saturday. Go shenanigans, guys. Have a good time. I know I've got at least a couple of friends out there who are at weddings and other kinds of insane shenanigans. Please be careful, but have one hell of a good night. And be strong. Put a kilt on.